Hello and welcome back, everyone. This is CSP Fozzie, joined once again by Bacchanalian, and we are bringing you Kadeshi versus 4th District, and we are very excited to see these two setups duke it out. This is very different than a lot of what we've been seeing so far today, in that both teams have brought super high DPS and then warped into zero, and they are going to brawl until there's only one team left. The Kadeshi have brought an Absolution, two Brutix Navy issues, an Aneros, a Brutix, triple Vexor, triple Enyo. Why don't you tell us a bit about the 4th District back?
Well, we are looking here at DPS versus more DPS, and the 4th District setup here is a triple Proteus, Myrmidon, Oneros, 2 Vexor, 2 Vengeance, 2 Tristan, and a fancy Merlin Nugo. This is going to be interesting. The red team almost entirely warped to zero with the exception of their logistics. The 4th District team are kind of spread a little bit. Some of their support is in the back, some of their drone boats in the back, but a lot of their ships right up front, right away. Nitty Masters, Vexor, straight into armor.
Yeah, these guys have come in right beside each other. The blasters are all at optimal right now. And already, yeah, there's taking big chunks of each other. We've got a Vexor as the one primary, and the Brutix is the other.
Yep, Nitty Masters into structure. One more, he's already off the field. Titan, Karatu, Zonero starting to take damage, as well as another Vexor, Vengeance into armor. We have T-Belt Avalon's Brutix kind of holding up in armor, but he is struggling a little bit. And it looks like damage is slowing down just a bit. Karl Ombacher's Vexor is getting a bit of rep, but he is going down. Nero's about to bleed into armor as well. So
the big difference between the tactics going on right now is that the Kadeshi have gone and started to apply damage to the 4th District's Aneros. Tinian, the Aneros for the 4th District, is taking damage. He's moved through shields now, and they are going to see if they can bring him down and hopefully allow that to give them the edge in the rest of the fight.
Yeah, we see the Oneros is now into armor. Enyo taking some damage. It's interesting, the support are duking it out without a whole lot of effect. They're not really shredding through each other like you might expect. Now the Oneros on the Kadeshi team is into armor as well. Yeah. And Titan Kurtu, I guess he's dual tanked. He's pulling back shields.
Yeah, he is an ASB tanked Aneros. This is not an uncommon thing in a tournament environment, although you don't see it in normal PvP very often. Shield ASB Aneroses are actually a legit fit in the tournament. And there he goes down, though. That being said, the Aneros of Pashute there is probably going to be right behind him because it's also tackled and taking a bunch of damage.
And again, shoots Neros is pulling back a little bit of armor, but slowly but surely he is going down. Trony's Myrmidon, however, on the 4th District is starting to go through shields. He is obviously the next primary. Demian's Samanel's Vengeance into armor. We have an Enyo. Oh, there goes the Oneros. So now we're both Lodulus teams here, just pounding away at each other.
The Kadeshi definitely has the edge, though, at this early point. They've taken down 2 Vexors to trade for a Brutix, which is definitely a good trade for Kadeshi. And then they also got the Aneros down early, which is going to allow them to bring this Myrmidon down.
Yeah, you see Skite Kari's Brutix now into armor, though. He is getting pounded away, and that Myrmidon's still holding off in shields. Proteus and Calder DK into armor, but the Proteus is going to be a much tougher nut to crack than the Brutix Navy.
It looks like that is where they're putting their damage rather than on the Myrmidon. They're putting it on the Proteus. That could make the difference here. This hero Proteus can tank for quite a long time, and if he tanks long enough, he's almost definitely going to tank long enough for the Brutix to go down instead. That could help turn the tide for the 4th District.
Yep, Brutix is going to be 2 volleys away from off the field. And by the time I finish this sentence, he will be gone. That Proteus still at half armor. Brutix down. Enyo in shields. Another Enyo in armor. Vengeance still in armor. Myrmidon not taking any more damage. So at this point, I think it might have swapped. The 4th District have an advantage that Proteus will drop. But the question is, can they get some Vexors down before that happens?
I mean, they're probably going to be able to get down the 2nd Navy Brutix in almost that time. We've got the Navy Brutix of Mirko there going quickly through armor, and even though he started to take damage as Calder was already in like 20% armor, they're probably going to die in a similar time period. Oh, there you go. Calder does go down, but Miro is not far behind. It's one of those things that you can easily miss in a match like this. The Proteuses have extremely good resistances to thermal and kinetic damage, and thermal and kinetic is what the blasters that are doing almost all the damage for Kadeshi are dealing. The Brutix Navy issues, the Vexors, the Enyos are all dealing blaster damage as we see the Brutix Navy go off the field.
I apologize. I managed not to lock that 2nd Brutix Navy, so I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
It's Proteus now into armor as well, though. Vexor starting to take damage. At this point, 3 Vexors at Absolution, they really should be able to crack through that. They might lose another Proteus out of it. Possibly the Myrmidon actually looks like he's taking damage, but I wonder if that's split damage. The Proteus is still inching down his armor.
Yeah, I don't know if they've switched now. Let me take a look at what's going on. No, the Proteus is still taking a lot of fire. I'm not sure why they're firing. Oh, it looks like that the damage there is coming from a Vexor that is just webbed and can't get into the main fight. So he's putting his blasters on the Myrmidon while he moves towards the fight. Otherwise, though, this is definitely a strong position for the 4th District. They've managed to knock down one of those Vexors, and they're going to keep eating through. Now, Sir Beto in his Vexor is in like 10% armor and is going to be dropping in a few seconds.
Yep, he is into deep structure. Proteus at half armor. Vexor is gone. Trony's Myrmidon holding on at high armor, not really stressed at the moment, and we see no caffeine's Vexor. God, that's got to be a miserable life. No caffeine, I don't know if I could do that. He is now into armor and will probably be going down very shortly. We do see the Vengeance is starting to take some more damage, but at this point I think it is too little too late.
I mean, the Absolution is going to be a pretty big brick to eat through at the end of all this, but by the time they switch to him, they'll have wiped out all of the DPS from the Kadeshi team, all the other DPS at least. This is a case where it's just the superior tanking ability, especially against blasters, that made these Proteuses so durable. Like, they've been shooting at Isit's Proteus for this whole time, and he's still holding on in like 20% armor.
What's amazing is looking at the attack bars is that as of the last Vexor going down, the Kadeshi has significant advantage on their attack bar versus the 2 Proteus. So there goes another frigate, but you would expect it to be the other way around with the 2 Proteus, Myrmidon, and a bunch of assault frigates.
Well, this is actually a good opportunity to talk a little bit about the attack bars there. What you're seeing is that the total attack bar is much bigger for the Kadeshi, but for the past several minutes, the attack bar has been more full for the 4th District. So you see there's the total potential bar, which is the larger of the two, including the faded portion, and then the part that's more heavily colored, that's the amount of damage they're actually dealing over the last minute. And so when you see a team with a very large attack bar that's not very full, that usually means that they're not being able to apply all of their damage against targets, which is often a problem with these blaster teams because it takes them time to move from ship to ship before they can deal damage.
So another thing to point out here is when you lose a Proteus, and you lose these tier 3 or tech 3 ships, I should say, you actually lose skill points to fly them. And perhaps that's something that the Kadeshi were thinking about. They knew they might have lost, and instead of going after what might have been an easier target, the Myrmidon, they went ahead and killed the Proteus because they knew they had time to do it. Cost 4th District some skill points, maybe hamstring them a little bit down the road.
Yep, I think that's definitely when it comes to trying to just hurt your team or hurt your opponent. That is the way to go. If you can knock out expensive ships, if you can knock out ships that require skill points, it's going to make their continued road in the tournament a little bit harder. The good news for the 4th District guys is that they don't have to face another team until next week, so they do actually have enough time to get a lot of that training redone. But later on in the tournament, when you have multiple matches per day, that's when it becomes a real big issue.
Yeah, it looks like Trony's Myrmidon is taking a fair bit of damage, just to give you an idea exactly how quickly they could have gone through that Myrmidon earlier on. And the question is, did they have a shot in this? If they go for that Myrmidon earlier on, get his links off the field, use a softer target than those Proteus, and the Proteus aren't doing a ton of damage.
Yeah, honestly, I think going after the Myrmidon could have given them a much better position if they had been able to do that. Yeah, he is. Like, look at how quickly he's dropping just from the damage of the Absolution. I think with all of the Brutix navies and Vexor still on the field, they would have been able to eat through him very quickly.
And that's always a challenge for a captain to make. It's a challenging decision to make. Is you want to get the Logi off the field, you want to get their links off the field, but do you have time to do that before you start losing your damage, or do you want to go after their damage and see if you can plow through? And oftentimes that decision, whether you make the right one or the wrong one, is the difference between winning and losing.
Yep. So at the moment, the Absolution of Aton there handling himself just fine because the last Proteus of Ladle is keeping range at the moment. He's not moving in to try to get the kill. It looks like he is going to be content to let the match go to time rather than burn right in and essentially risk his ship in case something horrible goes wrong.
Yeah, we got the 2-minute warning in local. We already have a GF from Liddell Taravata, the Proteus pilot, who has not been scratched yet. And that Absolution slowly but very surely being whittled down by paper cuts, it looks like.
Yeah, he is. Now the Myrmidon has actually pulled range and is holding on fine in the edge of armor as well. The Absolution will drop. And there we go. That is the match. The 4th District pulling off a win versus the Kadeshi and showing the very impressive capabilities of the Proteus in this tournament.
Really amazing to see the DPS that landed on each side, to see that fight go as long as it did.
So we are going to send you back to some player ads and then be back in a few minutes for Disavowed versus MIF.